Hey guys, Ducky here, and today we are going to be doing a rather brief review on this, the SRM, or Sanrenmu 9201 GW. What we have here is a coyote-ish tan G10 handle, pretty ergonomic, crossbar action, thumb hole deployment with a 3.5-inch blade of, there it is, D2 tool steel. Thickness, we're looking at a fairly thin, slicey blade with an almost completely full flat grind. I guess we could call this a very high saber with almost a trailing point, almost. Very slicey. The jimping works absolutely perfectly, as it should. Let's see if we can get a view of the tooth pattern. There you are. Yeah, it bites in very nicely. Edge retention has been exactly where D2 should be. Resharpenability is, again, right where it should be. So they seem to have their heat treat down pretty well. Deep carry, loop over style pocket clip, both left and right hand carry, so it is fully ambidextrous. Very smooth. I don't think it'll come up on camera, but let me see. Double check on this. Sorry about the unprofessionalism. As far as I could tell, this is on phosphor bronze washers and not bearings. It kind of feels like that. There's that little bit of friction there. It's not quite as buttery as a ball bearing would be. But you can still spidey flick it, no problem. You can fidget with this thing all day. Now these come in at roughly $30, give or take. There's a pretty wide variety. There's even a slightly different blade shape. The 9202 has a slightly different blade shape, and I believe the 9203 is slightly more expensive with micarta and 10CR15 or something like that, with a satin finish. I went with this because I like the colors, and the price point was a little bit more comfortable for me with a brand that I wasn't super familiar with. That being said, it has proven to be a very capable knife. I will admit I am a little hesitant with how thin the blade is to really push it into that quote-unquote hard use category, but for something like this, a 3.5-inch bladed folding knife, I really don't expect much in terms of the hard use. We'll put it clip side down for our size comparisons. So, we are going to compare it against a few things as usual. First and foremost, let's go with the Ozark Grail. Now the Ozark Grail is coming in a little bit smaller at about 3.25 versus 3.5, give or take. I'm not super 100% on the measurements. And then for another size comparison of something that most people should have is the K-Bar Dozier. And then to continue with our size comparisons, we'll go with a bit of a different side-by-side comparison. Standard Bic Lighter and Victorinox Super Tinker. Now, who is this knife for? This is just another one of those budget models that are a bit more interesting. And with that whole range of pricing, it does give it a bit of a edge over some of the competition because you can sort of pick your poison almost. Nowhere near the same variety as this in terms of coloration, but with the differences in blade steel, it is nice to see. Like I said, the action's very fun. This is a very nice piece to add to a growing collection, or even if you have a well-established one. It's a good budget beater. You can loan this out. It's an excellent gift. All round, for the money, it is actually quite the good knife. Now, we've done size comparisons. Let's do competitive options. First competitive option is going to be this. You might remember this from a previous video, the Rough Rider, I can never remember the name, RR2610. Coming in at around the same price, D2 blade steel. This would be the model I suggest if you're looking for something a little bit more robust. We're looking at, well, these both do have steel liners now that I'm actually looking at it, but these are definitely a bit more full, all things considered, but more so it's in the blade stock. The Rough Rider is a little bit more stout towards the tip, so it can be pressed into the hard use category a little bit more comfortably than the SRM. And the next one we'll throw in, because it's also D2, is the CJRB Feldspar. Same size. Again, very interesting on the aesthetics. All of these would be fantastic additions to your collection regardless. All of them are around the same price. Honestly, for the $30-ish to about $40 range, the market is so well saturated with perfectly usable, serviceable, and for a lot of the cases, actually quite good knives. Now, if this is something that interests you, I suggest picking it up before they... Because the thing is with these Chinese brands, the Chinese knives, they can disappear in the blink of an eye. Well, just when you're not paying attention. So I'd snap one of these up before they disappear. Although I really don't expect them going anywhere anytime soon. But that being said, this has been the SRM 9201 GW. I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching.